Good evening, everyone. I have found a PDF on Indo-European, and if Indo-European had a proto-form stemming from somewhere else, I actually don't agree very much with some of the parts on this PDF, and I will explain why. Instead, I'm going to focus on ancient North Eurasians and the Altai region. So now I want to focus on the abstract, the introduction, and the conclusion. And I'm going to leave out some of the details that it is mentioning. I'm not sure if I will have this in more than one part. Let's see, maybe I will dive into the details in my second part, or I may also make a video on ancient North Eurasians by showing graphs and pictures. So let's start with this PDF, which was found on Scientific Culture, and it was written by Xavier Rouard. So, and a few more, I think. No? Let's see, there is another person mentioned here called Thomas Becket. So it is actually dealing with Gaulish here, but I'm not going to focus on Gaulish or Slavic. What I want to focus more is the part where Indo-European might have had its origin. So here it says, most probably Indo-European had an archaic language stemming from the Trans-Eurasian original language. And here it talks about the Gaul language. And Gaulish and Dravidian was connected here. So definitely Dravidian is a very old language, and it is a language family in itself. And also in that region close to India, I think it's in the area of Afghanistan, Pakistan, those places where Burushaski is spoken. So also it says here connections between Gaulish, Dravidian, Altaic, Uralic, Kartvelian, Anatolian, and Middle Eastern languages. So they were actually the proto-form of the Indo-European, let's say, the mixture. according to this PDF. So this person studied lots of things and similarities, but I don't agree with the vocabulary that he compared with, and he came to very quick conclusions. That's what I think. And I'm going to actually post this so that you can see the PDF yourself. It talks about haplogroups. It talks about the C haplogroup found in Central Asia, right? Also the F, K, and P and Q haplogroup, the Y DNA. If you look at these haplogroups, they were actually the haplogroups of the ancient North Eurasians. This is what it made me think of. So the introduction is important here. So and everything that this person combined with was the Celtic language. He refers to the Celtic language as if it was a Scythian language. And I disagree with the fact that Celtic is that old. Actually, the Celts learned a lot from the Scythians, and they were not that archaic. So yes, one sentence caught my eye, and I can agree with it. It says here, Indo-European is primarily spoken by the Slavic people, and the current geographical distribution of natively spoken Slavic languages, they include the Balkans, Central and Eastern Europe, Western Siberia, and the Russian Far East. This is the fact today. But how did it all start? Did Indo-European actually have an ancestor? Where did the ancestor come from? So the article deals with Dravidian most of the time, and he says that Dravidian was the proto form of Indo-European. Now, if you look at Dravidian, it is agglutinative, and it is a subject-object-verb language. If you look at Asia, most of the languages there spoken, they have a subject, object, verb structure. And except the called Indo-European languages spoken there, which I of course disagree, they're actually not Indo-European. They only have a certain different vocabulary that they use. Sometimes it is mixed with Altaic. Sometimes it is a derived form of Altaic, which they have. With of the vocabulary that sometimes is Turkic, and even stemming from other parts, like for example Indian, etc. The Indo-European languages. So what I want to stress is that the Persian, for example, or Old Greek, actually they have many words in common with Turkish. It might be because Turkish has been under the effect of Persian, or vice versa. So, but the structure actually in Persian hasn't changed into subject, verb, object, like in the Semitic languages. Yes, it has prefixes, it has a structure of prefixing, but the Asian, most of the Asian elements, the agglutinative uh, effect of Turkish and the Turkic languages is there in Persian. And if you have a look at the word structure, at the sentence structure, it is subject, subject, object, verb. So it says here, Indo-European shows concordances with Dravidian, Altaic, Uralic, Kartvelian, Anatolian, and Middle Eastern languages. And in the past, it was very much affected by Dravidian. This is what the author of the PDF says. I disagree with the fact that it was Dravidian actually, because Dravidian was very much affected by the ancient North Eurasians and their languages. They spoke an agglutinative language, and one, certain branches of the language, let's say communities and tribes, as they went further into South Asia, they formed the continuation of the agglutinative languages there. And Dravidian was most probably a form of Uralic Altaic. Like later in Scythian. So if you look at the ancient North Eurasians, they left certain traits in the bodies that were found, in the mummies that were found, and in the DNA. So if you have a look at the Malta boy, for example, the Tarim mummies, they are all actually with traits of ancient North Eurasians. And I strongly defend the idea that ancient North Eurasians spoke an agglutinative language, which was very much affected by the Altai, in the Altai. Especially Kazakhstan, especially Central Asia. And out of Central Asia, I think, which was the center of the Ane population, they spread all over the continents. So anyway, let me continue. Of course, the Danic-Caucasian effect can be seen in the Athabaskan relationship here. And the PDF actually stresses that Indo-European was also affected by the Danic-Caucasian family. So there is also a thought about this. I think I have to stop it. But let me finish the introduction and then I will continue with the conclusion directly, or maybe I can dive into some details. So here it says, very interestingly, this led me to investigate ancient migrations into linguistic, genetic, archaeological, historical, and religious data. So he also deals with Rig Veda, etc., with that kind of stuff. And he came to the conclusion that Indo-European was affected by an archaic trans-Eurasian language. Okay, he names them, or they name these languages different names, and then it says, okay, it split later into language families. Okay, what I think is, I agree that the language families first had their roots in Central Asia. So this was the mother family of it. And I agree that the motherland of this family was, so sorry, was Central Asia, most probably the Altai. Um, and okay, I don't call it Trans-Eurasian. I would say it was the most archaic Central Asian language that was spoken, and which was most probably agglutinative. And I also strongly think that it was developed by the ancient North Eurasians. So they spoke that language. That's what I think. Here he goes on talking about the Eurasian, Indo-European, Ural-Altaic, Tungus, Turkic, Mongolic, Dravidian, Kartvelian, and Burushaski and Basque languages. You see here the languages that he actually mentions are all agglutinative, except Indo-European. That's why I don't consider actually Indo-European as a language family, because it is the grandchild of this archaic agglutinative language. All the other languages are actually the children of this archaic family, but Indo-European is the grandchild. So Indo-European developed just later, thousands of years later, than the agglutinative languages. That's my view. Here I want to mention Old Chinese. I didn't know that Old Chinese was actually related with agglutinative parts, because they told me that Chinese is not an agglutinative language, but I think it has a subject, object, verb order. But the language functions differently. But Japanese, the Dravidian language families, the Caucasian families, mostly, even the Georgian language, they are all agglutinative. Yes, I'm stopping it here and I will continue later. Bye.